What's going on, everybody? This is Travis Witherspoon. This is another episode of Trade with Travis. I have August 11th. It is 8:03 a.m. I hope everybody's doing very well. I don't have my glasses on, but we'll go ahead and get to the disclaimer and do everything else like that. I'm not a CTA, so I'm not going to tell you whether to buy or to sell. What I'm going to do is teach you education, and from that education, you can be able to make your own informed decision. I understand that trading involves risk of being able to make money, also involves the risk of being able to lose money, so please keep that in mind and understand that past performance is not indicative of future results, which means that if you end up making money yesterday, it is not promised that you're going to end up making money today. So, with that being said, as we go through and take a look at the charts, take a look at examples and everything else like that, typically what I end up saying was that we want to take a look at a market that was trending, meaning that we wanted to be able to see if we had time frame alignment, meaning that the weekly and the daily were trading in the same direction. Then after that, we want to check and see if we end up having any type of overbought, oversold signals that matched up with that overall alignment. And then after that, we look for catalysts. A catalyst can be broken down into a counter trend line break or economic news. And then after that, we always go through and have good equity management when it comes down to our trading and being able to do everything else. So hopefully everybody's doing very well. Hopefully everybody's done had a great day when it came down to trading. Yesterday was one of those days that I'm kind of upset about, but not upset, if that makes sense. Um, we end up having an inflation report that end up coming out. We end up having a trade on US 30 that we end up trying to get into early on Monday. And I think we took the trade. We end up making a little bit off of it. Had a first initial pop, came back inside, and then after that popped again yesterday. But I never placed in that order on that position. But I had the overall pending order that we wanted to be able to get into. That was something that happened a little bit earlier that day. So um, I was kind of upset when it came down to that. But overall, still is up when it comes down to our positions. We end up taking a look at what ended up happening. The market ended up getting into one of our orders a little bit earlier, so happy about that. So let's talk about what's happening on the economic calendar today. Really don't have that much. We have initial jobless claims that's going to end up coming out. We have purchase price index that's going to end up coming out for forex pairs a little bit later on. Then after that, we got GDP tomorrow to wrap out this week and be able to go from there. This week has been slow. It gave us one opportunity. If you did not catch on that one opportunity, really and truthfully, then we'll see how the rest of this week ends up reacting. But there's only been one big true move. Nas made a move on Tuesday, but the one big true move that actually ended up happening actually happened yesterday, where the market ended up going up 400 points when it came down the movement. I'm going to go through and take a look at what's happening with the. I go ahead and take a look at what's happening with the pairs that we end up getting into, and then after that, we'll talk about everything else. So, um, trade that we're in currently was a trade based off of US 30. We end up having a buy stop at 33,305 with a stop loss of 33,140 and a take profit at 34,310. This market has went into our position, fell down early. I actually ended up getting out of this position a little bit earlier in that position when it first fell down. Got back in off a counter trend line break before the market actually ended up popping back up. But like always, typically when you end up doing that, you typically catch the same number that you did. So I got rid of money to be able to stay with the same money, essentially. I ended up catching it based off of a counter trend line break to be able to get back in. And then after that, I have been riding it ever since. I had a few positions in because it was overnight. I placed in a trail stop of 35 points on one of the trades, 50 points on another one, and 80 points on the other one, on the third one, respectively. And what ended up happening was all three of those trail stops actually ended up getting hit, but ended up taking profit on three of those. Ended up making 1,700 on one. Ended up making 80 on another one, 32 on another one, and 60 on another one from there. So if we take a look at it and see what's happening for this overall movement, I have been trying to add in orders at this particular point in time. What you're probably going to end up seeing, I go ahead and show it. I have no problem showing it. Uh, I have a couple losses because I end up basically trying to get back into the order. And from there, what I have noticed is that um, I've been jumping in and jumping out too early, essentially on the move. But this is the moves that we end up taking a little bit earlier on this move on my $100 challenge account. that trade is actually still in, but that was the move that we ended up making a little bit earlier. Earlier today, I ended up taking these trades, ended up taking a couple losses on those. So we'll see how that kind of reacts. But I am right now. I am currently in the market um, with a trade at 33,468, 34,472, and 34,482. The reason why I'm kind of hesitant about all three of those moves in particular is because one, the 15 minutes in the sell zone in particular, uh, but we haven't had another deeper retracement, kind of like what ended up happening earlier right here. Um, where the market actually ends up popping up. So I want to see how the market kind of reacts first, especially going into the 9:30 time before adding on any other positions or moves or anything else like that. Seeing if it's going to end up falling because my stop loss is at 33,350 currently at this point. To see how this market kind of reacts. So um, slowly but surely, we'll see how this market actually ends up going and how it ends up faring off. Remember, we end up taking this order based off of the breakout of the volume profile. Um, we end up saying that there was a larger, big order that we could have got in after we ended up clearing all of this consolidation. That was my issue of why I didn't take that, why I didn't add on to that trade yesterday, or why I didn't place that trade back in yesterday because we was in this large consolidation block. But if you notice, we're going into another larger consolidation block that ended up happening in April and ended off in early portions of May. So I want to see how this market kind of reacts because in this area, this market kind of flew. So if we are correct based off of how this market actually ended up moving and how this market is actually kind of U-turning, you could truly see a big push going into the next couple of days to at least get back up towards these points. Now, if you notice, we are past the 618. So with us being past the 618, that kind of makes it kind of worrisome, especially for people that like to be able to sell. If this market is bearish, you may end up seeing that people may start getting in for it being able to sell a little early. If not, it keeps on pushing up, then it will push up all the way up to at least the 786 before being able to make a move forward to retracement. But here goes the pocket that we're trying to get into. Let me zoom out and show it again. This is the pocket that we are trading. When it came down to that move, I wish honestly, I probably would have got all of this move from here all the way up. Um, but beggars can't be choosers. We're already in a position. We already ended up making about $1,900 based off of the move. So all we have to do is just manage it and just do what we do when it comes down to that pair. So that is US 30. That is what's happening with that overall pair. That's happening overall for that move. Let's go ahead and take a look at Nas 100. Nas 100. Um, Nas 100 currently in on this market, currently in on this move as well. We had two orders. The first order, um, let's see, give me 1 second, everybody. I want to make sure that I'm square. Okay. Current move on this one. We ended up having two orders. The two pending orders were, come on, I had them written down somewhere. Where are you? Okay, I didn't have them written down. All right, so current orders end up having at 13,360 take profit on the first one was at 13,8 was at 13,850. The second one was at 13,600. So still have those two orders in. Still taking a look at that position, seeing if it can be able to hold the hours in the buy zone, which is a very good thing to be able to take a look at overall. If we're being very honest when it comes down to this pair and kind of riding this joker out. Uh, but I want to see how this market kind of keeps on moving overall. Um, we end up getting in this move based off of breaking this overall high of this block and then starting to push back up. We've had a couple consolidation blocks that we end up kind of pushing into. I said that when it fell down to the downside, I wasn't necessarily comfortable with that move to the downside. Um, and when it ended up falling back inside because it fell back inside of another block. So when it pushed back up, it was actually a very good move. Wish I would, yesterday when that inflation news came out. Basically, it just ran inside of that consolidation, broke out, and then after that started to push back up. So it has did a breakout. It has did a retest. Currently, right now, it is going up and trying to break the highs of this overall move. So once again, that is three things that I am kind of excited about in taking a look at this move. Um, we are seeing a little minor consolidation, and that minor consolidation only may just maybe because it's early in the morning. We really haven't got that many people to be able to trade. I would like to be able to see how the market's going to end up reacting right off the 9 o'clock time frame. But overall, we still have a little ways to go when it comes down to this position. But we are in an area of low volume, and because we are in an area of low volume, that allows us to be able to take a look at this trade and be able to treat it a little bit more seriously inside of this overall spot. Now, we will know truly that this market is truly bullish if this market ends up breaking above 13,500. And that's why I'm going to end up placing in another pending order trade at this particular point. I think I already have one. I'm almost for certain I already have one. But let me see. Um, I have one at 13,570, but I'm going to place another one at 13,500 when it comes down to that area because I am interested in being able to get in and take another trade based off of that area. So um, that's where we are when it comes down to that. I do like what I end up seeing. I do like what I end up seeing for us being in a low volume node and being able to notice that the market overall um, is bullish when it comes down to that push. So hours in the buy zone, 2 hours actually in the sell zone. So keep that in mind. Um, so we may end up getting a little bit of a push, but really and truthfully, we're all put. I think the move is really kind of pushing back up to this high volume node, which is at 13,905. We'll be out of this entryway before that actually ends up happening. But even with that being said, there's a lot of good movement that I think that we can be able to attach ourselves with, as long as we end up being patient off of this move. Okay, so if you're not in yet, would this be a great entry to be able to get in? I would say currently, right now, yes. Um, oh, excuse me. Excuse me. Okay, you take a look at the 15 minute. The 15 minutes a little bit overbought. Um, it wouldn't surprise me if the market does fall down a little bit going into the 9:30 hour. I mean, going into the 9:30 opening. But with that being said, let me lock this and let me lock this one. But even with that being said, there has been a counter trend line break. There has been a double bottom, even at that point, where the market has pushed. Um, if you're going to end up getting in, I would say get in before the market actually ends up breaking a high of 13,462. Um, and then after that, just ride it out from there. Stop loss, if you're going to place your stop loss anywhere, I'll place my stop loss below this wick low. If you want to be a little bit tight with it, you can place it at 13,380. I'm going to be a little bit on the conservative side. I'm going to place it back at my break even point at 13,360 for us being able to have in another entry. But other than that, we'll see how this thing kind of plays out. Um, I do like where we are. Um, I just think that overall it just has to keep on moving. If it keeps on doing that, then I think everybody will be happy when it comes down to this movement. So once again, take profits at 13,840 and 13,600 respectively. Or 13,8, I think it was 13,860. Um, and 13,340 respectively. So keep on doing your thing. Everybody that ended up getting into this trade a little bit earlier, congratulations to you for being patient and allowing, um, and basically just allowing the market to be able to move uh, and kind of picking your spots. Remember, summer months are very slow, and the best thing about that is that when you get a move, you have to be able to hit on it. But you also have to be patient in allowing the move to be able to play itself out. So that's all I'm asking everybody to be able to do as we take a look at these movements overall. Okay, so that is Nas 100. I did not place this as an idea. I don't think so. Um, but I am gonna place this on. I'm gonna write this up real quick once again. Um, this was a pending buy or buy stop. The entry entry ended up getting that was at 13,360. The stop loss was at 13,210. Take profit um, is at 13,600 and 13,860. Yeah. So hopefully everybody ends up making money off of that move. I really do hope that everybody ends up making money off of both of those moves when it comes down to that position. Um, Take a look at what's happening with German 40. German 40 is back in that position where we end up starting off. Quite frankly, if you have not gotten to an order, this will be the order that I will look at being able to get into right now. I'm glad I actually ended up glancing over and taking a look at it because it literally just broke out of this position. This is actually an active trade right now. If you want to be able to take it, um, I would I would move my stop loss from where we actually were before when it comes down to this position. But this is a active trade that I would look at being able to take like currently, like right now, because it's finally done broken out, retested, it done broke out again. Stop loss I will place below the swing low, let's say 13,680, 13,680. Take profit on that position was at 13,840. DAX has been moving relatively slow. But even with that being said, it's still a great position to be able to get into. Um, this is this will be the second time that this market has broken out. It's kind of like the same move that we end up taking a look at with um, what's the move that we're taking a look at? Kind of like the same move that we end up taking a look at with US 30. The only difference is that US 30 end up getting economic news to be able to back it up based off of that push. We end up having that big push yesterday, end up making profit. The market actually fell down and took out. If you got into that order yesterday and did not have your trail stop, you end up getting taken out of that order. Now it's done push back up inside of this area. For the people that want to be truly safe, I would say the best move will be able to wait until the market actually ends up breaking out of. You can either let it break out of this double top area, or you could be able to have basically that little middle section. If we take a look at the volume profile numbers, so I want to zoom out and see if we can get some more information. The volume profile numbers are telling us clearly that we're outside of that area. Let's see the values. Let's see what we get for its values. There's a clear, distinct difference when it comes down to overall value of how many people are basically placing in orders in this area. It's almost a drop off of half of that position from that area. So it would not surprise me if the market does have a push and have a move to the upside if it does make that move. Uh, the thing is now is can it remain to push up to the upside for that push? Um, if it doesn't, then obviously be quick with the trigger for it being able to get out. Um, we've been in consolidation on most of these pairs for more than 5 to 6 days. So when the market ends up making a push, it's probably going to end up having a big one. The thing is this market going to end up having its big push today as well to the upside? Nas had its push on Tuesday. We ended up taking a look at US 30. US 30 had its push yesterday. DAX has not had its push yet. So maybe this might be the time that DAX ends up having its push to the upside overall when it comes down to that movement. So um, and keep in mind, if it does push and break past this area, if you take a look at all these numbers, they drastically start to go down when it comes down to that area, and it goes back into that fall point that we end up making our first initial large amount of money based off of that movement over on this left hand side. So I am kind of interested to be able to see how that's going to end up reacting and how that's going to end up working. But just like anything else, be patient. A lot of market to be able to move. We'll see if we can be able to make something off of it. If we can, then I think everybody be happy. If we end up missing, then be quick when it comes down to being able to get out early on that move, just like anything else. Cut your losses short, let your winners run, and Basically, just follow that rule over and over and over again. Everybody else will be okay. All right, so there we go. We went through the main three that we ended up taking a look at. Let's go ahead and take a look at the big three as we end up going through and take a look at the chart um, and go from there. So nobody cares about the smart gauge. And why my stuff not on here? I just say get started. Where's my information? Okay, everybody, give me 1 second. Okay, there we go. Let's start off with gold. Let's see what's happening with gold, and then after that, we'll kind of move forward with everything else. Gold from a daily standpoint is still in this large consolidation box. Remember, I do not like trading inside of consolidation boxes. I like trading away from them. This is a very large consolidation box from 2016.85. The market ended up hitting support at 1685. I want to say about 14 days ago, and since then the market has popped up over 100 points to the upside. I said that for the people that are still in, I would say ride that out to 1872, which was the midway point. You keep on doing that, then more than likely you will be good when it comes down to that movement overall, um, and allowing this market to be able to run. Um, the only deal is just being patient off of that move and allowing it to be able to do its thing when it comes down to that. But currently, there's really still no move that I would be interested in being able to take place in on for this move overall at this particular point in time. Um, but until then, um, uh, just be patient overall when it comes down to that. So go out of it. I'm going to jump back into what's happening with US 30 real quick. US 30 end up making a push. I said I wanted to get in at 500, didn't I? What was that order? No, it was 570. I think I said it right. I think I said it right. It was at 33 570. Okay. Pending order that I want to go ahead and place in now, so I don't forget. I have it on one of my I have it on one of my old trades, but I want to make sure that I have this placed in correctly. Pending order for US 30, 33 570. Let's see. 3570. I'm gonna explain why in a second. And at an entry at 33 570 with a stop loss of 33 400. And a take profit of 34 310. So all of them are still going to the same spot. But pending order, I want to be able to place in at this overall order from here. So I'm going to place that right there and tie this all the way up to here. Let me explain why I'm saying this pending order now, getting this out the way. You take a look at what's happening based off of the hour, and once again, we're taking a look at values. The last point before, when it comes down to this overall values of this move, is that if this market ends up breaking past 33 568, you're going to see a significant drop off of volume that's being placed in. We got it at 375 and 572. So literally from 33 570 all the way up until at least 33 830, there's going to end up being a free range area that people can be able to get into and be able to make a lot of money off of when it comes down to this movement based off of just numbers. Now, keep in mind, this is past history, but past history allows you to be able to understand what's going to end up happening with the market and when to be able to get out. This allows you to be able to know that you can be able to get in at least if you want to scout from 33 570 all the way up to 33 830 Oh yeah, 33,830, and that can be one move of it, and then after that, look to be able to get in at 3,400 and then get out at 34,330. For it's two different moves set up when it comes down to that position. The reason why I'm doing this now is because that one, I'm not going to be in front of the computer, but two, I already know that there's a potential position that may end up being free to be able to get in. Now the question is, well, why wouldn't you get in now? No one's saying that I would not get in now based off of the setup, but I'm already in an actual position. So I am going to go ahead and place in that order. Um, just give me a second. I need to go ahead and place that in on one of my other systems because I did not have it in on my other system, but I am interested in being able to place in that position at 33,570. Um, and we'll talk about that in a second. Let's see. My only fear when I do stuff like this is hopefully this is not the position where it taps and then goes down automatically. I've been seeing that a couple of times as well. Um, let's see. I'm gonna place in. I should probably place in two orders off of this, but let's see. How did I show this the last time? I said 840. Okay. I'm gonna break this down into two orders. First one is gonna end up getting out at 33,830. 33,830. And then after that, the last one ended up getting out at 34. Man, did that just kick in? Oh wow, look, it literally just kicked in. Okay, there we go. Well, there it is. That's a live order. Um, order has been placed in. It jumped. Jeez, how much did it jump? Okay, well there we go. Order has been placed in. Um, man, that jumped quick. Okay, I wasn't even paying attention. Okay, it's already in. Cool. Um, so if it keeps on pushing if it keeps on pushing that from that position, then obviously the next order that I will look at being able to get out at when it comes down to any position that you're looking at this particular point in time would be that 34,310 position. Um, Now 3,400 will be the next order for us being able to get in. Um, Remember we have that large drop off at 34,060, two up there at 34,310, a position where we said that we wanted to get out from the last standpoint. So um, 34,060 is the last position of this move. And all we're doing is just basically placing the same trade in that we end up placing going to the downside of last year. So, I mean, not last year, of a few months ago. So, literally, I feel like we're just placing in the same orders over and over and over again just because we have the same voids, which is not a bad thing. It just means that um, we are basically following the gaps that were basically being given to us, and we're just doing that very well. So um, this would be 33. Um, say 33,960, just for the sake of being able to do it now. 33, 33,960. Come on, 33,960. Take profit will end up being at that 34,310 area. All right, so that order is placed in as well. So overall, happy about the move. Hopefully, it keeps on pushing up instead of giving us that large spike and then falling down very quickly. But um, let's go to what ended up happening. The market ended up pushing up, literally ended up pushing up to 33.57 very very quickly, and then after that started to revert back. And I think that's probably because of 830 that 830 push from that movement. But literally got into this trade yesterday. We talked about how it was in a low volume node, so we should be able to get in and get out of this area very quickly, hopefully, and kind of ride that joker out. Now it's just being patient along the way as this market kind of makes its move. Remember, take profit if you need it in certain areas. Um, there is going to end up being some type of a drop off, just like any other point. Just keep that in mind, and try to see if you can be able to manage that as much as possible along the way as well. So um, that's where we are when it comes down to that move. I'm going to take a look at every other move real quick to see if there's any other thing that may end up happening. Um, we have a big push. I don't like this. We have a big spike up, and then after that, we see the market starting to revert down on NAS. So, want to see what's actually happening with that overall. Remember, 15 minute is in the sell zone. We typically see about an hour worth of overall retracement when it comes down to that movement. So that may end up being something that um, we have to pay attention to just a little bit more as this market kind of retraces a little bit. Let's see, are we seeing that same thing on? We're seeing the same thing on US 30. Yes, we are. Long wicks and stuff like that, I really don't like when getting tapped in when it comes down to that movement. But I'm going to try to be as patient as I possibly can. I know that there may end up being a little bit of retracement. As long as that retracement doesn't knock me out when it comes down to the trade, then I'd be fine. Um, but overall, we are covering up our winners with our loser at this particular point when it comes down to that movement. All right, I'm going to come back to that. DAX um, DAX rejected off of its move and fell back inside. That's awesome. Yeah, DAX literally rejected off of this move and came back inside. I'm going to go ahead and cut that one off and see what's going on with that one. I'm going to monitor these numbers as we are paying attention to them. Um, Literally, it went up 70 points and then rejected out very quickly. The only one that I've gotten out of right now at this particular point has been DAX. We'll see how that kind of reacts for at that point. I still do like the trade. Um, I'm just going to place a pending order in when it breaks back above this overall level. We may have to adjust these numbers just a little bit when it comes down to that position. Um, let's see. All right, so going back to what I ended up saying, we'll take a look at U.S. dollar index, and we'll take a look at what's happening with oil, and then after that, we'll call it a day since no one is live. Um, Currently, right now, what we're looking at with the currently right now, what's happening with the United States dollar index is that we end up getting a strong push to the downside yesterday, and we're starting to see that same movement to the downside. It's breaking the channel, and if it breaks down off of this channel, it's going to end up moving to the downside even further. So that'll be something that we have to pay attention to overall. Um, I haven't placed in a down sub field yet, but I think I probably should just to be able to see where it could potentially go. So we take a look at that. Down sub field could fall all the way down to 12,697, which will match up with the 618 or 786 for its movement to the downside if that is to happen. Okay, so keep that in mind as we are paying attention to all of these moves. If that does fall and make its move like that, then that would be the position to be able to pay attention to. But like always, um, I probably might end up coming back right around 9 o'clock, just because that's typically my time that I end up doing it. But I had a little bit of time in the a little bit of free time this morning, so I wanted to make sure I end up at least talking about the positions that we're in. Um, DAX once again came up and hit right at 1732, popped up real quick, basically ended up tapping this overall high. So that would be the area where I would say if you're trying to be a little bit more conservative, 13,756 or 13,760 will probably end up being the move to be able to get in at now. Um, if you're trying to be conservative, um, if you're in that trade and you want to be patient, then let the trade ride out. Obviously, you end up having good equity management to be able to ride off from there. US 30, we're in this move. We're going to stay in this move. Got it at 13,570 when the market ended up popping up. We have a stop loss of 13,400. So if it does take us out on that move, we still have the other trades that we're in to be able to hold us off. And what's happening with NIOS 100 is that we can see that people are buying the bottom off of that move. So just be patient overall. We'll see how everything kind of plays out. Like always, plan your trade, trade your plan. Everyone, if you like it, click on that boost button. Um, help us out for us being able to get more people to take a look at all of our information and stuff like that. Everybody, take it easy.